Goodbye Charlie, Part 2, by Carlos Camacho. Narrated by Allon, Silove. Goodbye Charlie, Part 2, by Carlos Camacho. Narrated by Allon, Silove. All rights reserved. This book or any portion thereof may not be reproduced or used in any manner whatsoever without the express written permission of the publisher, except for the use of brief quotations in a book review. Copyright 2017, Carlos Camacho. About the author. Born in 1967 in Montevideo, Uruguay, Carlos Camacho, fluent in Spanish and English, also lived in Argentina and Australia. He formed his love for music and writing at a young age, graduated in psychology and philosophy, and presently lives in a coastal town north of Sydney with his wife and children. He works as a psychologist and produces music. Carlos has recorded albums, written poetry and short stories, theatrical plays, and a novel. This is the second book in a trilogy based on his life. Dedication. For Roberto, Mirtha, Marla, and Leonardo, nucleus of a life. Return of the Alien. The bus heading towards Puno went all around the Lake Titicaca, an immense lake that has provided life to so many people. Charlie stared out the window. The lake was like an ocean meeting the sky on the horizon. There were people who lived on the lake, literally lived on it, on straw islands, and that was where Charlie was headed. He slept as much as he could, trying to recover some of the sleepless nights he had had in Cuzco over the last 2 months. He slept with his head on the window, using his poncho as a pillow. He felt depressed, nostalgic, melancholic. In other words, normal for Charlie. He thought about the first day he had arrived in Cuzco, and then the second and the third. He fell asleep reaching the fourth. The bus arrived in Puno, and Charlie walked towards the first restaurant he saw. He ordered the same meal a Peruvian was eating at another table. When it came, the plate was nothing like the one the other customer had. He complained and told the owner he had discriminated against him for being a tourist. The owner said, "Sorry, I thought you were Argentinian." Charlie found out where the islands were and headed towards them on a small boat at low cost. On arrival, he managed to step right through the straw with his first footstep, almost sinking deep into the lake. Looking up, he saw the locals in their traditional outfits laughing at his misfortune. The islands were made totally by hand with straw. The communities built them and had been living on them for centuries. Some of the islands were massive, holding up to 200 people. There were huts for each family with animals and even a small school. The children were all dressed in very colourful and probably uncomfortable traditional clothes. Charlie didn't stay there long. He took a few shots and left. He wanted to rush through this part of his trip, and like his state of mind at the time, he was heading south to Argentina, wanting to get there before Christmas. Charlie reached La Paz a few days later. The beauty of the city struck him. The bus came from over the mountains and the immense city surged into view from down below. It sat in a gigantic valley and was surrounded by mountains that were snow-topped even in the heat of summer. The bus slowly made its way down to where all the people were until it was swarmed by the movement of demand and supply. "The first thing that comes to mind when I think of reaching La Paz," Charlie told me, "are the magnificent mountains around it. The second thing is the selling and buying of things. It's like a big market store." "What now?" he demanded back in the white room, dropping his head into his hands. He rocked back and forward. We were at week 4 of our meetings and had 4 to go. He was trying to rush me. He understood he had only 4 weeks of life in him. He knew no one in the city and was arriving with his usual get off the bus and see what happens plan. "I love that," he said. "The thrill just before the adventure. On your own, no possibilities and all possibilities all at once. I'd never felt so free." He found a tiny room on the second floor of some apartment blocks and decided to stay for a few nights. On the first night, he slept through until the next afternoon, as his body relished the bed after days sitting upright on a bus. He looked at a calendar on the wall and counted the days till December 25. The change of city had done him good. His mood was high and he was eager to walk the streets and explore. Over the next 3 days, Charlie spent all the afternoons at the markets, eating and buying football jerseys. He thought it would be a good idea to buy the football jersey
Sample complete. Ready to continue?